dedicate that prayer to the memory of my dad. Most of the time when I speak about my other life, I tell about my interactions with clients, my interactions with children, and how I experience those interactions. I don't talk much about the other major issues that arise in the dissolution of a marriage, and particularly that of the division of property. Now, in most of the cases that I handle, property division is not that big an issue. Maybe there is a pension, maybe there are some bank accounts. We have to decide on the disposition of a house that may be owned by the couple. Basically, in Maryland, whatever the parties accumulate during the marriage is subject to some sort of equitable distribution. Now, as we discussed in our Bible study class last Thursday, please do come. Pat Smiling, these guys back there, Sandy Wiley, they know. They know what we discussed. What we discussed was this pot that the court looks at in a marriage, and all of the property and the houses and the cars and the earnings and savings accounts and all the sweat equity and all the effort all goes into this one pot and then is subject to some distribution. But hopefully the parties will come to an agreement as to how to divide this stuff, because the only thing a court is able to do is to sell everything at pennies on the dollar, mind you, and then split the proceeds between the parties. Yet you still wouldn't believe how many people come to me all the time and say, yeah, but I really want that couch. And I look at them and I tell them, for what it's going to cost you for me to call the other attorney and argue about this couch, you can afford to go out and buy a new one. Please consider that. Now, there are times when I and the other attorney would just like to lock our clients in a room and not let them out until they have divided all the tables and the chairs and the pots and the pans and, oh yeah, pets. You would not believe how many times I have to argue about pets. There was one time I had to put together a custody order about two little Yorkies. How long they would spend time over here, how long they would spend time over here. It's incredible. Which is why the reading from Jeremiah today sounded so familiar. It appears that the transfer of land back in Jeremiah's day was incredibly similar to how it is done today. A deed is drafted and signed, transferring ownership from one party to another. The deed is then witnessed by trusted third parties. You even had to have a copy back then. You had the original signed and sealed copy, and then the unsealed and unsigned copy of the original deed. Now, today, as you probably know, I would take that deed and I would record it in the county land records over in the courthouse down in Bel Air. Back then, of course, what Jeremiah did is that he asked that the deed and the copy be placed in a clay container so that it would be stored in there for many years. Now, of course, registering or filing the deed in the county land records is a lot more secure than keeping them in a clay pot. However, the act itself is very much the same. There is a permanency to it. Jeremiah, as we read, wants to ensure that the land that has been deeded to him stays in the family. family of Israel, and that this land is there to provide sustenance and growth and homes and security, which is probably the most endearing and enduring quality of the lives that I have experienced here with you. The land, the farms, are passed down from generation to generation. This land, these farms, provide growth and security for countless families. It is a legacy that Jeremiah leaves for his people. It's a very similar legacy that is left right here. Which leads us into what Paul had to write to Timothy. Now, as we read in there, of course there's different translations as we go, but the reading is unmistakable, and there's two phrases that pop out of there that we say all the time. First, you can't take it with you. Secondly, money is the root of all evil. Timothy asks us, what kind of legacy do we leave when we can't take it with us? Is it money or righteousness? Is it riches or holy living? Is it exorbitant wealth or abundant love? You know, sometimes it is still a struggle for me, maybe it is for you, because I'm thinking, how am I supposed to help others and really support my family if I'm not held accountable for how much I earn and how much and how well I can provide? And I do believe that this struggle can cause tensions in how we make decisions, how to live our lives. Timothy still says you can't take it with you. So, how much do we really need to accumulate? Are we chasing a dollar, or are we chasing our kids around the backyard? Are we hoarding possessions, or are we gathering families and friends together in love and fellowship? Do we leave behind a legacy of isolation, or do we pursue an outward expression of the love God shows us every day? And that's what Luke is really telling us. It's really simple. Don't step around Lazarus. Don't step around Lazarus. Now, we talked several weeks ago about looking through those little windows that God may provide for us so that we can see clearly the world around us and engage in the opportunities to help others. The rich man missed his little window. The rich man steps around Lazarus, refusing to acknowledge the world in which he lives. And it would not have taken all that much effort to change this person's life, just as it does not take much effort now to do the same. Back then, Lazarus was willing to eat the crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. And it's the same type of acts that our community of believers engages in every day that affects the lives of others. Miriam's table, the Mason-Dixon food collection we do, Samaritan House, the prayer shawls, and the serving the immediate needs of our more global communities. Simple, yet very profound acts. The challenge to us is to keep looking out for the opportunities to serve others, and in so doing, serve God. Watch for the little windows, and don't step around Lazarus.